Acts 3, 4, and 5. Move forward in history a good 14 to 16 years, perhaps more. We're told in chapter 4 that Annas is the high priest. Here it is true. Annas, or Ananias, the son of Nebedu, was appointed to the high priesthood in the year 46 by King Herod. We're told in chapter 3 that Peter and John are in the temple, that they come across a lame man. They take him by the hand. Peter pulls him up, commands him to arise, and he walks. They use this opportunity to preach to the people. There is a huge ruckus, much discussion. Peter and John are arrested, placed in the hold for the evening, brought to the high priest in the morning, and commanded not to preach in the name of Jesus anymore. Well, they go back to the temple, and now word has spread throughout the countryside, and everyone is bringing people with infirmities to the temple for the apostles to heal. Once again, Peter is arrested. He is miraculously released from the jail by the angel of the Lord, goes home, and the following morning he returns to the temple again. Well, he is brought to the high priest, and it is worthy noting in Acts chapter 5 that the high priest says to him, "Did we not straitly command you that you should not teach in this name? And behold, you have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine, and intend to bring this man's blood upon us." Well, you recall in the Gospel of Matthew that when everyone stood before Pilate, they said, "Let his blood be upon us and our children." Now, evidently, they don't know anything about this. What's more, Peter, in the following verses, says, which is true, that we ought to obey God rather than man. But then he goes on to say, "The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom you slew and hanged on a tree." Did the Gospels tell us that the high priesthood, or this Ananias, son of Nebedu, killed Jesus and hang him on a tree? No, they did not. There have been at least 11 other high priests since Annas ceased being the high priest when Jesus was 9 years old. And now Peter is accusing this Annas of killing Jesus. Strange for a person that is supposedly in the temple teaching daily not to realize that the high priesthood has changed hands at least 11 times over the years. The priests, now conferring amongst themselves, decide that they're going to have to kill the apostles. Whereupon Gamaliel, who is the man we are told in other places in the Bible, was the person that trained Paul And Gamaliel wisely says, "For before these days rose up Theudas, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all, as many as obeyed him, were scattered and brought to naught." Well, that happened sometime between the years 44 and 46. And Gamaliel is telling us that this happened in the past. Then he goes on to say, after this rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, and drew away much of the people after him. And he perished, and all, as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. After this. So this moves the period of time covered in these chapters, like I say, up a good 14 to 16 years. There is a huge error in this, though, because Judas of Galilee was killed in the year 6. His sons were captured and killed sometime after the year 46. We know this because this is covered quite thoroughly by Josephus in Book 20, Chapter 5. And so this is a huge discrepancy between what we know of actual history and what is said in this chapter. Judas of Galilee was killed a good 40 years prior to the time that this chapter says he was killed. Thanks for listening.